13. Tupper's legacy. In 1890, Jacob Estey, one of Shaw University's earliest donor, died. At that time, Jacob Estey had established the world's largest free-reed organ factory in Brattleboro, Vermont. His son, Julius Jacob Estey, his son-in-law, and his grandchildren continued to run the Estey Organ Company in Brattleboro, Vermont. Jacob Estey was the main donor of Estey Hall at the Shaw University campus, built between 1872 and 1874, which was the first building in the United States constructed exclusively for the higher education of African American women. His son-in-law, Levi Knight Fuller, remained connected to Shaw University as a supporter and trustee. In 1893, 3 years later, the founder of Shaw University, Henry Martin Tupper, also died. Reverend Dr. Henry Martin Tupper, born on April 11, 1831, in Monson, Massachusetts, died on Sunday morning, November 12, 1893, around 8 a.m. in Raleigh, North Carolina, at the age of 62. Henry Martin Tupper died after several months of illness. Funeral took place November 14, 12 o'clock noon. A procession with more than 2,000 people was reported. Henry Martin Tupper was buried on campus, near Shaw Hall, between two magnolia trees. Under a small, flower-covered hill. A funeral service was held at the president's house, on campus, followed by a procession to the chapel, dining hall, where a memorial service took place. This was followed by a procession to Henry Martin Tupper's final resting place. According to photos in the catalogs, the final resting placard was located between Estey Hall and Shaw Hall, roughly at this spot. Every year, the Founders' Day was celebrated at Tupper's grave. The university campus, as it looked at the time of Tupper's death, was likely the one Henry Martin Tupper had dreamed of. Tupper himself was surprised at how quickly the campus was built. So, what legacy did Henry Martin Tupper leave behind? The Shaw University had already sent 200 preachers and over 4,000 teachers throughout the South. African American physicians and lawyers who opened their own practices. 1 year before Tupper's death, the State Chronicle Raleigh published the following data. Over 400 students enrolled. 200 in agriculture and mechanical engineering. 61 in medicine. 40 in theology. 11 in law. 11 in pharmacy. Representatives from all southern states and from several countries. The legacy of Henry Martin Tupper's Shaw University is immense. From 1965 to 1970, renovations took place on the university campus. Shaw Hall was demolished and replaced by a new, modern building. As part of this project, Henry Martin Tupper's grave had to be relocated. A new burial site, the Tupper Memorial Garden, was created. And a memorial was also established for Henry Martin Tupper's wife, Sarah Baker Leonard, who died in 1924. You'll learn more about the Tupper Memorial Garden later in this series. Inventory 1894. After Henry Martin Tupper's death, in 1893, Dr. Nicholas Franklin Roberts served as interim president. Nicholas Franklin Roberts was a Baptist preacher and educator. On December 9, 1893, he led a memorial service in honor of Tupper. In 1894, Charles Francis Meserve became the second president of Shaw University. Charles Francis Meserve, born in Abington, Massachusetts. The 1894 Leonard Medical School catalog from Shaw University features a photo collage of the university's buildings, just as Meserve took over the campus from Henry Martin Tupper. Let's take a closer look at all the buildings, chronologically. The President's House is the oldest building on campus that we see here. The building was already on the site before the university. It was the former Barringer residence, which was probably still being used as the president's and teachers' residence. The first school building erected on the campus was Shaw Hall. Named after the main donor, Elijah Shaw, it was a men's dormitory and coeducational school. It can be seen that now a balcony has been added to the side entrances. Estey Hall was built next and also got a balcony in the 1894 catalog collage. However, the 1894 catalog also shows the old version of Estey Hall without a balcony. The picture was probably taken during the development phase of the balcony extension. Estey Hall was used as a girls' dormitory and also as a school building. After Shaw Hall and Estey Hall, the chapel building was constructed. This building was used as a chapel and dining hall. The medical dormitory was built in 1881. The medical dormitory was part of the Leonard Medical School. The Leonard Medical School also included Leonard Hall. Included the Leonard Medical School Hospital. and the Leonard Pharmacy Building, which were all built together on an additional plot of land. There was a training/missionary school that was also used for nursing training. And there were industrial shops, which were probably built very early on. Henry Martin Tupper, founder of Shaw University, left behind in 1894 a university campus with faculties for medicine, law, pharmacy, and theology, as well as a college for the humanistic and natural sciences. On January 28, 1896, at 11 a.m., Elijah Shaw died at his home in Wales, Massachusetts. Elijah Shaw is the namesake of Shaw University. Elijah Shaw was born in Wales, Massachusetts. Which is the neighboring village of Monson, Massachusetts, the birthplace of Henry Martin Tupper, the founder of Shaw University. Elijah Shaw probably began his career in the shoemaking industry. According to the 1862 centennial anniversary Wales Chronicle, boots and shoes were an economic factor in Wales during this period. He then worked as a maker of axes and hoes, and later manufactured carriages. In 1847, Elijah Shaw entered the woolen mill business as Shaw Manufacturing Company. By 1862, this company had expanded to 5 mills, and Elijah Shaw had become the sole owner. An entire area in Wales, Massachusetts was 1870 named Shawville. In 1870, Reverend Henry Martin Tupper needed $13,000 to purchase land in Raleigh, North Carolina, on which he wanted to build a school for formerly enslaved African Americans. Tupper traveled north in his hometowns of Monson and Wales to find donors. Elijah Shaw, who probably knew Tupper from his time in Monson and Wales, supported the project with a generous donation of $5,000. Then Tupper began building the school in Raleigh, together with the students. The bricks for the school were handmade, possibly with the help of Elijah Shaw, who himself built his mills in Wales using handmade bricks from his grounds. When the school was finished, it was named Shaw Collegiate Institute, and the building was named Shaw Hall. Elijah Shaw and Henry Martin Tupper were, or became, close friends, and the Shaw family traveled to Raleigh several times to see the progress at Shaw University and to continue supporting the project. Mr. Shaw and Dr. Tupper were like brothers. Funreal took place at 2 p.m. on Friday, January 31, 1896, in Wales, Massachusetts, at the Baptist Church. Elijah Shaw had built this church in 1874-75 and donated it to the congregation. Shaw University was represented at the funeral by President Charles F. Meserve, Reverend Dr. Morehouse, J. H. Young, and Professor Norman. Elijah Shaw was buried in Wales Cemetery No. 3, also known as Laurel Hill Cemetery. Location of the former Baptist church, where the funeral took place. Wales, Cemetery NR 3. On February 22, Elijah Shaw was honored at a memorial service in the chapel of Shaw University. Elijah Shaw from Wales, Massachusetts, the first major donor, after whom Shaw University was named. Also in 1896, on October 10, 1896, Levi Knight Fuller died, in Brattleboro, Vermont. Levi Knight Fuller was the son-in-law of Jacob Estey, the main donor of Estey Hall. Levi Knight Fuller assisted with planning of Estey Hall. He became a member of the Shaw University Board of Trustees, which he even chaired for several years. Fuller began working for Jacob Estey in the 1860s as an engineer and machinist, then became production manager. In 1865, he married Abby Emily Estey, the daughter of company head Jacob Estey. In 1866, he became vice president of the Estey Cottage Organ Company in Brattleboro. Levi Knight Fuller was extremely multi-talented. In addition to his work at the Estey Organ Company, he was also involved in other companies and in politics. Levi Knight Fuller was governor of Vermont from 1892 to 1894. The 1905 Shaw University catalog describes that Abby Emily Estey Fuller, Levi Knight's widow, sent a portrait of Levi Knight to the university. Levi Knight Fuller remained loyal to Shaw University as a trustee until his death. His wife, Abby Emily Estey, died in 1829 and left Shaw University, among other things, her religious books